TC, yesterday I received an interview. I received an invitation.
For an interview?
No, had nothing to do with an interview. I don't know why I say the word interview.
Because you do interviews all the time.
I received an invitation.
Okay, got it.
Beautiful invitation.
Oh, like a real one?
Yeah, like a beautiful, you would say, like
embossed. Yeah, letterpress.
It was from a foundation established in the name of George Herbert Walker Bush, President Bush, Papa Bush, for his Points of Light Foundation.
Oh, wow.
Work with me here because I might not be getting the exact title correct. But it was a fundraiser, and they do God's work. Anyway, what stood out in my mind is I looked at the committee, and Dana Carvey and his wife were listed.
Isn't that something?
And I thought, isn't it nice that Carvey did his Bush impression on SNL and a warm bond formed between them?
I love that.
Why do I bring it up now? I bring it up because Dana Carvey is coming to Parks Casino.
Oh, that is one to watch.
October 1.
That's so cool.
I'm sure he does his
he must,
Papa Bush.
Of course.
Parks Casino, right in Bucks County, 90 minutes from New York, the #1 casino in Pennsylvania, headliners all year long in the state-of-the-art Excite Center. I've spoken in the Excite Center. Comedian Dimitri Martin, Australian Pink Floyd, blues traveler Jay Leno, and Dana Carvey. The only casino and sportsbook I recommend. Concerts, dining, action, excitement. They have it all. Visit Parks, with an X, casino.com for all the details. Got to be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Time now for the headlines from Smerconish.com, the newsletter. I said previously that my faith in the audience for its independence is bolstered today by the result of this poll question.
Good.
Because I like it and I agree with it, and I think it shows a willingness to be critical of R's and D's.
All right, go ahead.
11,827 people voted on this yesterday. Should President Biden and Vice President Harris condemn the practice of Democrats elevating the most MAGA Republicans in primaries, something neither of them have done, something Chuck Todd asked Kamala Harris to do on Meet the Press on Sunday, and she refused. It's election day today in New Hampshire. Maggie Hassan is the Democratic incumbent. There are a couple of people running to be the Republican nominee, and one of them is the sort of traditional mainstream Republican running with Mitch McConnell's support. His name is Chuck Morse. Chuck Morse is the president of the New Hampshire State Senate. And there's a very MAGA candidate running against Morse. Bolduc is his name, retired general. So Democrats, a Senate PAC, a PAC that exists to maintain control of the Senate for Democrats, has dumped money into the election, trashing Morse. What's the purpose? The purpose is to elevate the MAGA candidate and hope that the MAGA candidate wins. Why? Because they think the MAGA candidate is the easier to beat. Logic that has been employed in other states, but you play with fire, you might get burnt. So if you're Joe Biden and if you're Kamala Harris and you believe democracy is really imperiled by the MAGA movement, then how can you sit idly by and allow representatives of your party to boost MAGA candidates? That's the issue. 64% and change of us said Harris, Biden, the president, vice president, they ought to condemn that practice. And it kind of plays into today's poll question because today, largely based on an analysis by Nate Cohn at the New York Times, where he is a numbers cruncher and strategist and analyst, not a strategist, but an analyst, I'm asking, are midterm polls like those of 2016 and 2020 again overstating Democratic support? And the model of this is one that says in 2016, the polls underrepresented Donald Trump and Republicans, and then did it again in 2020. So now, when recently there's been this belief, and put aside the House votes for a moment, let's talk about the Senate. Because I still think Republicans are going to retake control of the House of Representatives. It would be really unusual if Democrats were able to maintain control, given that they hold it by only 4 or 5 seats. But the Senate is in play. And recently there's been good news for Democrats relative to the Senate, because in a number of states, like Pennsylvania, the Democratic candidates are doing very, very well. So Nate Cohn's analysis is one that says, wait a minute, as his headline, poll warning signs are flashing again. And what is he arguing? He's arguing that the same trends from 2016 and 2020 are back. That when you look at these states, Wisconsin being a great example, it looks like a very rosy picture for Democrats. Then again, Wisconsin was very rosy, like 10 points for Democrats in the last election. And they were way the hell off. So I'm asking, is the Democratic support being overestimated? That's what I'm asking in today's poll question. I hope you'll go and cast a ballot on that. Please read the Wall Street Journal editorial posted at Smerconish.com. Ukraine takes the offensive. Do you remember the no nukes? I know you purport to be 50.
I am 50. What is the
You've been 50 for 4 years.
That is not true.
Yes, it is.
No, I was 34 for 4 years, and then I just embraced my age.
But like Jackson Brown, no nukes.
I mean, I know the idea of it. I don't think I was aware of it at the time because that was in the 70s. I was born in 71, so I was a little young.
I think my brother went to a Jackson Brown no nukes concert and didn't tell my parents.
Oh dear.
But it was like that era.
Right.
It was really just like a little ahead of me when we went through the whole. So in the thumbnail,
it was ahead of you, my friend.
In the thumbnail today,
right?
In the thumbnail today, well, I thought maybe Christie or Colbert or somebody gave you an album, and in the thumbnail today, Randy juxtaposed a no nukes symbol and a map of Ukraine.
Right. What's next?
Because Ukraine has been on the offensive. That's a good thing, at least according to me, not according to Roger. But the question now is, what will Putin's response be?
Right.
The Wall Street Journal today. Ukraine's counteroffensive against invading Russian forces is an important turn in the war, though not without peril, as Vladimir Putin calculates how to respond. Western leaders have to be prepared that he will use nuclear weapons or attempt to involve NATO directly in the conflict. And then they go on to explain what has happened in just the course of the last weeks. Ukraine's advances raise the stakes for Mr. Putin's. Russian military bloggers are sounding the alarm, but Putin has been reluctant to mobilize the entire country for his special military operation, lest he court more domestic opposition. And then further along, Russia's use of chemical and tactical nuclear weapons cannot be ruled out. The use of battlefield nukes is part of standard Russian military doctrine. Rather than lose in humiliating fashion, Putin may calculate the military benefits are worth the risks. What would we do? I mean, you can't contain a nuclear cloud, right? So is a nuclear cloud something that invades NATO space and therefore
come on, it has to.
triggers a NATO response?
Has to. Has to. It's the most serious. I mean, has to, right?
I almost made that today's poll question of the day.
Oh,
but
God, I hope it doesn't have to be tomorrow's or the next day's or the next day's.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's like
that's
good and
terrifying.
bad. Like you're thrilled for Ukraine. But on the other hand, you say, Putin is nutty.
Right.
What's he likely to do in response?
To up the ante.
That's the question.
Yeah.
That is the question. Maggie Haberman's book is about to come out. Man, there have been any number of revelations from her book. I wonder if there's going to be anything left.
It's so interesting because all these books come out and you say every time, what else could there possibly be? But like, it's Maggie Haberman. So she's got something.
Confidence Man is the title of the book. Confidence Man. So what's the new revelation? CNN has it. I linked to it. Trump saying he was never going to leave. Former President Donald Trump repeatedly told aides in the days following his 2020 election loss that he would remain in the White House rather than let incoming President Joe Biden take over. I'm just not going to leave, he told one aide. According to Haberman, we're never leaving, he told another. How can you leave when you lost an election?
How can you leave when you lost an election, or how can you leave when you didn't lose an election?
How can you leave when you... Take two. How can you leave when you won an election? How can you leave when you won an election?
Yeah, that's my point.
I think I was thinking he lost the election. Of course he's going to leave.
Of course. What is he going to do? Just bar the doors? Just not move out? Not enough room in the bureau?
How many times, TC, have I said to you, if he's...
solvent, unindicted, healthy.
Right.
Those are the three, right?
If he's solvent, unindicted, healthy, and he wants the nomination is his.
The big three. All right.
Okay.
So why do you bring this up?
Updates in two of those categories. First, a story from the New York Times and ABC about how 40 subpoenas have recently been issued by the Department of Justice pertaining to January 6. For example, they seized the phone of, this is actually kind of interesting, Boris Epshteyn, the in-house counsel who helped coordinate Trump's legal efforts with Mike Roman. This was the effort to appoint alternative slates of electors. Remember the day that Bruce Marks was here talking about his involvement in first being a victim of real fraud in Pennsylvania and then being on the periphery of...
called him in. They said, this guy knows.
And laid the whole thing out. The good podcast if people want to know all about it. Well, the Justice Department has issued 40 subpoenas in that regard. The point being, they're taking a very hard look at Trump relative to January 6th. We knew that. But, the breadth of their investigation is newsworthy. Okay, so that's the unindicted
part?
realm. I have no information on his solvency.
Okay.
But relative to his health, did you follow the story of Trump in Washington? Was he golfing? Wait, he wasn't swinging a club. Did he go to Walter Reed?
When he arrived, was he in his golf clothes?
Shoes?
Because then did he come quickly? Walter Reed says they can neither confirm nor deny, which, by the way, is the right response, but it doesn't quell the rumors. Where did the rumors start anyway? Just because he showed up in D.C. and it's so rare for him to show up. It's only the second time since he lost. I couldn't believe it when that started. It seemed like something that was easily known. Did he or not? Did he not go to Walter Reed? But it seems that people still are asking.
Questions have been raised about why Trump's plane landed at Dulles Airport in Virginia, an airport frequently used by those headed to Washington in an unannounced visit on Sunday. One of the many rumors that have been spread online is that he's visiting D.C. for just the second time since he left office to attend Walter Reed Hospital for health reasons. A number of social media users speculated that Trump's visit to D.C. was taken at short notice because he appears to be wearing golf attire in footage of him arriving at Dulles.
Well, and then everybody kept showing what the weather forecast was for the area.
Right, that he arrived late on Sunday and the forecast for Monday was strong winds and rain.
Right.
I don't know. I have no idea whether there's anything to it. On the health front, there's an R. Let's talk about the health of a D.
Okay.
I did not post this story at Smerconish.com, but I took note of the photograph. What is that protrusion from John Fetterman's neck?
I don't know the answer.
I
am going to get an over-the-phone diagnosis.
What is a goiter?
A goiter is like a thyroid. I think that's on the front, like here. I think I don't think it's the back. I don't think a goiter is the back of the neck.
Is this why he wears the hoodies and why he wears the scarves?
That's the speculation. So now a picture was circulated yesterday, literally went viral, that showed him without all the wrappings, and you can see that there is a large protrusion on the back of his neck. He has an unusually shaped skull and body anyway, but that did seem to raise some eyebrows. I've seen it before. I knew there was something back there. There was
if you saw the story, there's a comparison where it doesn't seem to have been the case a couple of years ago.
I think it wasn't the case in 2018, and then a picture from 2020 does show it, and now obviously it's 2 years later, and it's definitely there.
Washington Post editorial today. You'd swear it's a transcription of my program. John Fetterman needs to debate more than once for the U.S. Senate. This is the Washington Post making this observation, going through the record, as I've explained so many times on the program, about Fetterman not being forthcoming when he first had the stroke, about the cardiomyopathy. But the part that is the tell that the Washington Post is listening to me on this is when they use the word sophomoric to describe Oz. But that's no defense. Like the fact that Oz has been an ass in how he has handled Fetterman on this issue is not reason for Fetterman to be able to duck a debate. And the Post points out, as I have, that early voting is starting in Pennsylvania on September 19. So when Fetterman says in late October, I'll be there for one debate, he's seeking to bank the support that he believes he has.
And you're saying that's too late.
Too late.
Yeah.
Too late. And the Post, want his health records released.
Well, I think it's so reasonable. You've been saying that all along. You can both be for Fetterman and also want the health records known. I'm
not for either of these guys.
No matter who you're for.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Crudite, come on. But I can't stand by while this guy gets a free ride. How about this? 1,300 New York Times employees say, no, we're not coming back. You know, they were only asked to go back 3 days a week.
So
nobody's going back 5 days a week.
3 days a week. And
nobody's going back 5 days a week.
I was on Twitter yesterday before I even saw the write-up, and I saw, it seemed to me to be dozens, if not hundreds, of similarly worded tweets. So obviously a coordinated effort from writers at the New York Times tweeting out, the New York Times is asking, at New York Times is asking us to come back. I don't know the exact verbiage, but basically we're not going to do it. And I think they all sent out very similar sounding tweets. That I took notice of before I even realized what was going on. Then I saw it was 3 days a week. I'm sorry, Michael, I'm old fashioned. I know I get called out about this from my daughter and her friends all the time. They think I'm ridiculous. Get back to work. I'm sorry, come on.
They say we are working.
I
We're just
understand.
working from home and we're more productive.
They also say with inflation, et cetera, that it's hard to get in, that the travel time and the cost. I guess it's different going into New York City, and I get that.
They're banking a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an expensive commute.
Exactly.
So I was thinking about it from a different angle, which is that on a number of occasions, I enjoyed going to the Times lectures. This is like one of the best kept secrets in New York City, is in the New York Times building, which is this gorgeous structure. I've never been in the building per se, but in the ground floor, they have a theater. And it's a small theater. It's probably a theater of 250 or 300 seats, but they bring in, or used to bring in, great speakers, and tickets were readily available if you moved quickly. I saw Robert Plant there. I saw the entire cast of Breaking Bad there with Greg,
that's right,
our producer.
I remember that.
So I'm trying to think of, I feel like I've been to one or two more. In any event.
Wait, Led Zeppelin, isn't that where you saw that?
Robert Plant.
Oh, Robert Plant.
Yeah. No, that was at MoMA. You're thinking of something else.
That's what I was thinking of.
But here's the point. The Times has a beautiful building. I can only imagine that upstairs it's all vacant.
It's like
and the rent that they must be paying for that. So what happens to the real estate market in downtowns when the youngins say, no, I'm not going back?
Well, and what is the response when they say you have to come back 3 days a week, and now we've got 1,300 employees saying we're not coming back? What do they do?
Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel relevant. The 74th Emmys were last night. I watched none of it, but Ted Lasso won. I watched Ted Lasso.
I'm grateful for you.
Succession won.
I appreciate you.
I know and really like Succession. Have seen all of Succession.
I don't like any of those actors in Succession.
Squid Game. I watched Squid Game. I'm not going to go back for more, but I watched Squid Game.
Is there more?
I think so.
Oh, geez.
I don't know. Don't trust me on that.
Okay.
But I thought so. White Lotus. Have you seen White Lotus?
I have seen White Lotus.
Would I like it?
It's a little crazy. You might like it. I think you'd like it. It's crazy.
I'm trying to think of what was just recommended to me. Lily, who does makeup for me at CNN on Saturdays,
Lily.
She gives me tips, and she's got pretty good instincts.
I remember you know why? Because she's a Howard Stern fan.
Yeah, well, that's why I can trust her judgment.
Exactly.
And finally, TC.
Tell me.
Piers.
No, do not. We've had
Piers
such
Morgan in the New York Post today.
Do not end
talking about Harry. Harry, if you really want to honor your dad, nix your salacious tell-all and rein in your Royals trashing wife. Quote, and he's written a supposed tell-all book due to be published later this year or next, in which he will reportedly rip into the Royals yet again in what Harry says will be a first-hand account of my life that's accurate and wholly truthful.
Wow. I refuse.
Do you think
I will not engage.
Do you think that Harry
this.
and Meghan are walking on eggshells just thinking, oh my God, when they see the book, like all this outpouring of love and support, and Charles is in Northern Ireland today for the first time as monarch, and they know what they've written and submitted.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going through their head now, frankly. You know, families are complicated, and I wouldn't start wondering what they think.
Piers says, if Harry genuinely wants us to believe he has a desire to honor his father, as he said today, he should tear up his lucrative contract with Penguin Random House and cancel the book. You think he will?
We'll see what happens.
Do you think he should?
I think it's a beautiful week, and I'm enjoying every
You're just
bit
not going to allow me
of
to
the coverage.
drag you into any of this.
Absolutely not. You know why? Because I'm above it. Thank you.
So am I. I said good things about Megyn.
You pandered.
Ladies and gentlemen, please go vote on the poll question. Are the pollsters getting it wrong again as we head into the midterms? Are they underestimating Republican support? That's what I'm asking in today's poll question at Smerconish.com. Please go vote. If you're not already subscribed for the daily newsletter, what's up with that? Subscribe. It's free and it's wonderful. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.